if you work out enough,
You do 80% of the things I tell you to do. Yeah.
and you don't get the results, then I will keep working with you until you get the results for free,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm just 100% committed to their success.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? Zander Fryer, CEO and founder of High Impact Coaching, here with Jay Williams, who is the newest member of High Impact Coaching. He's our lead success coach here at High Impact Coaching. He's been responsible for helping a coaching business get up to 4 or 5 million. He's been in iBanking in the past. He owns his own 2 in-person gyms. So we're going to dig into a lot here with Jay today, specifically around his journey and also how to sell high ticket in your in-person fitness studios. But Jay, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. Before we get started, tell me about those guitars, man.
Yeah, so I took up the guitar 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. I've always been really into music, but I never played any instruments, and took it up as an old man. And I mean, I can almost perform.
You're not that old, Jay. You're not that old.
It's just a hobby, and I love it.
Yeah.
It just brings me joy every day.
I love it, man. Beautiful. All right, brother. So I know a lot about your story, but I think it's incredibly relevant to obviously understand how you got from where you are to starting your fitness studios to obviously working with us today, and also some of the big shifts that you've made to get to that point. So I just kind of want to start off with your journey from iBanking to getting into the fitness entrepreneurial space. Can we start off with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, I guess if we rewind, like I always loved working out, and I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but when I started working out, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the big thing. And so you'd go and you do weightlifting and stuff. And so I would do some of that stuff, and that would kind of help with my basketball, football career, right?
Yeah.
So I always used to get up early, go to the gym, and I always thought, they could do a little better job here at the gym, even when I was like 13 years old. And when I was 14, I decided I wanted to open my own gym.
Yeah.
That took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
You
But
knew it for a long time. You just didn't do anything about it.
yeah,
Sound familiar to anybody else out there? Is there something you've known you needed to do for a long time and you just didn't do it? Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So I've had maybe, I always like to say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 different jobs, probably like 7 or 8 different careers, from like sales to I was a programmer for a while. Then I was a project manager. And like you said, I was in investment banking. And somewhere along the line, I had a knee injury that required surgery, and I got a job sitting behind a desk at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was like really into this job, didn't do any movement, and really focused on work, and ended up basically being one of those 300-pound, like desk jockeys.
Yeah.
Uh, I was 300 pounds and really not feeling great about myself at
Yeah.
30 years old.
Which by the way, which is insane. Obviously, like I've met you in person and you are just fit, right? And to think of you as like a 300-pound person is insane.
I'll find a picture and share
You,
it with.
you gotta share it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was 300. I was actually close to like 315. And what happened was, I mean, it's just like everything else. Like you go to happy hours and you do all this kind of stuff, and you just don't pay attention.
It's built up over time and a just lack of awareness. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I got this job transfer to London, and about 3 or 4 months before the job transfer, I was like, people in London wear all these like fitted suits and stuff. I better get in shape. And so I walked it. So this is a relevant part of the story. I made a lot of money. I was working in investment banking, right? I basically had like a wad of money, and I was waving it around saying, "Hey, I need to lose like 100 pounds here, guys." I tried like boot camps. I did personal trainers, at the local gym. Like I tried a lot of stuff, and nobody could help me. And it was really interesting. Like I was willing to do anything.
Why was that though? Like, why could people just not help you?
Part of it was okay. So you go to the local gym, you work with a trainer, and you're like, "Hey, I want to lose 100 pounds." They have you doing bicep curls and like elliptical machine,
Yeah.
and it's just like I used to
So
play
they're
football.
teaching you how to use the machines. They're not teaching you how to properly take care of your body.
Exactly. Nobody ever talked to me about nutrition or anything like that,
Yeah.
and it's just like it got to, and then you go to the boot camp, and you're like running for like we're running 35, 40 minutes, and I'm
Yeah.
315 pounds. Like it's destroying me.
Yeah.
Right. And so just there was nothing that kind of fit, right? So found my way into it was a CrossFit gym at the time, and everything was way harder than I could do, but there was something about it that just stuck with me.
Mhm.
I lost like 30, 40 pounds and then moved to London.
Yeah.
And I was back on my own again, going to the different gyms, trying to do different stuff. And eventually one thing led to another. I lost maybe another 30, 40 pounds on my own. And I ended up opening a gym mostly so I'd have a place to like continue to train.
To work out, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was this little place like the size of my office here, right?
Yeah.
And and I just opened the gym and put a sign up and put a website up and said we're open. And when we opened, we had one paying customer, and our only goal was to make the 1,500 pounds a month we needed to pay for the rent,
Pay
and then
rent?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turned out after about 3, 4 months, we had like 30, 40 customers. We needed a bigger space.
Yeah.
And, we kind of moved and that kind of expanded and grew. And it got to the point where there's like 150, 200 people, in the gym. And I'm like looking at my day job. I'm spending 8 hours a day going, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
At that point, I had lost the 100 pounds, and people, were kind of following my story and going like, "Hey, I want to do that too." Not only that, but I'm in London as an American, and this gym was bringing a community of people from all over the world, and it was like the best part of living in the city because they got to be around other people that had similar interests,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's amazing.
And so we just ended up like I ended up quitting that job, and there's a story behind that, but a lot of it had to do with when we had our daughter. I have 2 kids,
Yeah.
and we had our daughter, and I sat back and I said, I have this great job, and I can probably retire from this job, but if I keep doing this, then I'm never going to stop doing it. Like I have to get out of this now.
Yeah.
And it's like a little backwards because we couldn't really afford for me to quit my job.
Yeah.
But I was like, I got to get out of this now because my daughter's young. I can
Yeah, I
get
was gonna say, like, how did that, like, you having your daughter, like, how did that change things for you?
it was like I got to take action. I have to I had made this change of like losing 100 pounds, and we made this change of like moving to a new country,
Yeah.
right? And I sat back and I said, what do I want my life to be like? And I looked at my boss and my boss's boss, and it's like these guys are making millions of dollars a year, and it's like I don't want that to be the example.
Yeah, they're making millions of dollars a year, but they don't look very happy.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the example I wanted to set. So instead of going on the path of making millions of dollars a year in investment banking, I decided to make less than 50 grand a year running a gym. and and the best part about this, to be honest, was my wife. She said, we always make things work. We always going to work it out.
Yeah.
You know, Go and give it a shot. We've got 6 months of savings. Go earn enough money to, pay for our bills, and we'll see if we can make it work.
Yeah.
We did.
I think
Um,
that's something that's really important though. It's like, yeah, and we see this a lot in the entrepreneurial space. It's like when you have people in your corner that support you, it makes a world of difference. And when you don't have people support you, it's a lot more difficult. Can you talk to that a bit? Like your wife, like sounds like she was a massive influence on this.
yeah, I mean, we've been together for a long, long time, and I've supported her in, some of the things that she's done, and she supports me in the things that I do. The big thing is just like, don't put me in danger,
Yeah.
right? That, but even then it's like we kind of spell out worst case scenarios. It's like, well, we might end up on the street or living with our parents or whatever. And it's like, we'll be together and we'll work it out. We'll
Yeah, we'll be together. We'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
there's never it's like you said, it's super, super important. And I think one of the things about being an entrepreneur is that it's like super lonely
Yeah.
because you're doing something that not a lot of people are willing to do.
Yeah. So not a lot of people understand it.
Yeah. And you're making decisions that not a lot of people are willing to make.
Yeah. I
And
feel it,
so
man.
having somebody in your corner, it just makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to me about, okay, you've got your gym in London now.
Yeah.
Then you open up another one in California.
Yeah. Okay. So I we transferred to London. I had a visa with my
Yeah.
previous company, and then I basically decided like, okay, I'm gonna get a visa through my gym because
Yeah.
now I have the gym, and the lawyer said, hey, it's gonna take you about 3 to 6 months to get this visa, so you just need to hang out in the country and
Yeah.
so great.
Sit
So
tight. We'll get you there.
yeah,
By the
we'll
way,
get
this is exactly what me and Maddie are going through right now as well. So
so we said, okay, great. We're moving things forward, and it got to the point where it was time to leave the other company, and I left the other company, and I still had like 6 months left on my visa,
yeah.
right? And so the 3 months goes by. The immigration's lawyer's like, hey, another couple months, another couple months, another couple months, and that keeps happening, happening, happening. We ended up spending Christmas in London, which we normally would come home to California. And it got to March, our visa had expired. We're still in the country,
Yeah.
going like, "Hey, this is probably not good. Like, we shouldn't be here anymore, right?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, yeah, you should probably go back to California." Oh, okay. Great. So we went back to California, and again, it was, "Oh, it'll be a month, it'll be a month, it'll be a month." So we basically were on vacation, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got here in March, the sun was shining, we got a sunburn in March, and,
Yeah.
we ended up doing that for 6 months. And finally the visa application came through. We were finally ready to go. We had the gym there. That was where our income was. We still had all of our stuff there.
Yeah.
We had an apartment that we were just subletting. So we went through all that. The day, like 2 days before we were about to hop on a plane, we were all packed up and everything.
To
We're
go back
living
to
in
London.
going back to London. We got a call from the immigration lawyer saying, "Hey, because you overstayed your previous visa, sorry, this one's overturned, and you're banned from the country, so you can't come back to the UK for 10 years."
So you own a gym in London and you're banned from the UK.
Yes. So that was like that sucked. um, we we basically were living in my parents' extra bedroom now with a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
and my wife and I, our mid 30s, living in our parents' extra bedroom. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17, like as soon as I could.
As soon as possible. Yeah.
This was like the worst case scenario for
You
me.
you go from potentially making millions in
Yeah,
iBanking
yeah,
to quitting to making 50K
yeah,
to getting banned from the country that your business is in and living at home with your parents and your 2-year-old.
yeah. When you put it that way, it sounds pretty horrible.
It's pretty impressive, man. You did well. You did well.
So this really sucked because like the business really needed us there, but
Yeah.
then we couldn't be there, and we also needed incomes. We didn't have jobs. I mean, we had some income coming from the gym. We were still taking a salary. Fortunately, we didn't have any rent to pay because we were staying with my parents.
Yeah.
But this is like a tough situation,
Yeah.
and so
And I think that's really important because I know there's a lot of coaches out there and a lot of new entrepreneurs out there where they're like, that's what they're thinking. They're thinking like, oh my God, my worst case scenario is like I quit my 9 to 5 and then something doesn't work out and I end up living at home with my parents at 30 or 35 or 40 or whatever it is.
yeah,
Right. It's like, yeah, you did it.
that happened to me.
You succeeded in that. I'm proud of you, man.
So I basically cried for about 20 minutes, and I took a really long walk, and then I went and laid down on the front lawn of my parents' house and just looked up at the sky, and I asked myself like, what do I want my life to be? Because this is
Yeah.
basically like this is the worst case scenario for me.
Yeah.
What do I want my life to be? And I realized like I love running a gym. I love owning a gym. I love helping people. And so I called up my buddy and I said, dude, I need some money because I'm going to open a gym.
Yeah.
And he was like, great. 5 weeks later, we opened a gym in California.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally 5 weeks from there. We ran our first in-person class in California.
That's
And it just, that part was actually the most shocking.
yeah.
Like be able to find a place and just like get everything together, all of the equipment, and then, for people to hear about it, like that part, when I think about it, was like really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, we opened that gym and like we never looked back. That was 2013, and that gym grew in the same kind of way. Maybe not quite as much right at the beginning, but it grew and grew and grew, and it helped to serve the community. We started hiring more coaches. I eventually got my ban overturned from
Yeah.
the UK, but by that point, I was like, California is pretty nice. I'm not going back to
Yeah.
the UK.
And now
And
you've got a gym here too, so you're gonna have to figure out this
yeah,
intercontinental thing. Yeah.
and so we just so yeah, that's how we ended up with two gyms in two different continents.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing, man. I just love that story. And I think there's just a lot of lessons to be learned in there from anybody in the entrepreneurial journey, like what you had to go through to get to that point and the ups and the downs, and just having I think having the wherewithal to just be like, yeah, like, you and your wife, like we've got each other. We're just going to keep moving forward. Right.
Yeah.
So
So, one of the things that happened when we opened those gyms is people are like, how are you able to run gyms in two different continents? And so enough people asked that question where, I started helping other business owners.
yeah.
And so I did that for um I guess almost 4.5, 5 years, just focusing on gyms.
Yeah.
And had a lot of success with that, and really enjoyed working with the probably 300 or 400 clients that we ended up working with, or that I ended up working with.
Yeah.
um, Got to speak on stage and do podcasts and things like that, and really kind of got to the point where I realized like helping people with their business is the same as coaching people to lose weight.
Yep.
Oh, it's just you got to track your numbers. You got to get over some mindset stuff. You have to have the right kind of plan to
Yep.
follow, and then you have to have a coach that helps you make adjustments.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty simple, right? It's if you have the right plan, right, that works, if it's a proven system that works, you just need to make sure to get over your mindset stuff, track your numbers, and have someone to keep you accountable to doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
amazing, man. Beautiful. So talk to me, obviously now, so some things have changed. Now you still have the two gyms.
Yeah.
We've decided to kidnap you and bring you inside of High Impact Coaching to be our lead success coach. So we're obviously really excited to have you and all of your experience here. Talk to me about, you actually started as a client of ours, and you took our systems and started to implement them in your gyms, and especially around these times with, whether you're a fitness trainer or a studio owner, a full-blown gym owner, we're in some weird times right now. So talk to me about, some of the things that you're doing with selling high ticket in the gyms, and the shifts that you've been able to make that have been really working.
Yeah. So, I stopped doing the consulting earlier this year and part of it was to focus on my gyms. And then 5, 6 weeks after that, the gyms had to shut down because of COVID. Right.
Yeah.
So, when I found high impact coaching, it was like, okay, we know we're going to have to make some shifts. We started running classes online and doing
Yeah.
stuff, whatever. But what we had planned to do was not sustainable until this whole thing is over, right?
Yeah.
And so we started looking for other answers, and we kind of found our way to high impact coaching. And it was a funny thing about this. Like before I started at high impact coaching, I downloaded the what is it? The perfect consult, the 11
Yeah.
steps perfect consult,
Yeah.
and like was not all the details. It was just, here's the worksheet.
Yeah.
And the next three people that came in, I just went through the worksheet, and
Yeah.
all of them signed up for, our higher ticket offer, all three of them.
It's amazing.
And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God, this
okay,
shit works.
yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe I should sign up for the high impact coaching.
When your free content is better than most people's paid content, you've got something good.
So it was funny because when I got on the phone with Cahal for the sales call, I should have just said like, okay, man, look, I'm sold. Like, we don't need to go through this. Let's
My credit
just
card is already out. Let me just read it to you over the phone.
yeah, exactly. Um, because I had already made the money that I needed to make to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so like what we found really transitioning from we're essentially going from like a small group model where people are paying not much to we still do small groups, but we have a higher ticket sort of front end. And
Yeah.
it's almost like going from group class to personal coaching. And what we found is like
Yeah.
most people most people out there are just like me when I was 315 pounds. They have a lot of money and they're like, solve this problem for me.
Somebody please fix me.
Yeah. And and they don't there's no solutions out there, honestly.
Yeah.
Like there's or at least there's not enough, or people don't know that those solutions exist.
Yeah.
And so what really got me was my one of my coaches who is going to be going through this process to for the gym. She had the same thing. Like she basically used to work with a personal trainer who was okay because basically that person offered to solve her problem. She didn't care about working out with that trainer 3 times a week. She
Yeah.
didn't need someone to count reps or watch her bicep curls.
Yeah.
She just wanted someone to solve the problem.
Yep.
And what I realized is that like if you can solve someone's problem, that's really priceless.
Yeah.
And and I have the solution. And what's funny about this, Xander, is like what we do now, high ticket, is really the same thing that we used to do for a couple $100 a month. But because people are have been indoctrinated into the value of it
Yeah.
and they pay more for it, they actually do it.
Yeah. They actually get the results that they're setting out to get.
Yeah.
We always tell people who pay attention, right? And it's like you can have a $200 program and a $2,000 program that are exactly the same. The
Yeah.
2K one is going to get better results
Yeah.
simply for the fact that it's priced higher.
Exactly. And you know what? When you charge $200, people still think it's too expensive,
Yeah.
right? Like they're gonna say it's too expensive at 200. You might as well ask for 2,000 or 3,000
Yeah.
because you're still going to get people saying it's expensive, but you only need one of those 10 people to sign up,
Yeah.
to be for it to be worth it, right?
Yeah. Well, and
So
especially, something you and I talked about right now with everything going on during COVID and like in-person gyms having limited capacity and you're not actually able to work out with as many people. And there's fear around coming to in-person gyms, right? It's like, you kind of have to make use of the people who are coming in and make sure that you're still bringing in that profit. So,
yeah. So what we found was that by focusing on the solution, so we do an 8-week program and we ask people specifically what do they want to get, and we try to get really specific about what
yeah,
their goal is. So I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to lose 25 pounds or whatever, or I want to get my first pull up. We try to like almost like negotiate right at the beginning of exactly what you want so that we can say, okay, we are going to deliver you losing 15 pounds over these
that,
8 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah. Or you getting your first pull up. That's tough over 8 weeks, but with a focus, you can do it. Right.
yeah,
So we really focus on that. And then we create the program based on what's going to get them there.
right.
Right. And for most people, if you're trying to lose 15, 20 pounds, it's going to be very similar.
Yeah,
But honestly, like those little tweaks are the things that get people there.
yeah,
And so, what does it actually look like in practice? Sometimes we work with them 3 times a week. Most times we don't.
yeah,
In practice, it's actually just, okay, here's the plan. Here's the roadmap. Here's how we're going to lay it out. Here's the times that you're going to work out. Sometimes you're with a coach. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes we're doing it on Zoom because we have people that just don't want to come in at all.
yep,
Right? But you're going to follow up on this. And it'd be funny. I think I showed you this, but like we actually give people a journal and we
yeah,
have them write down their results in the journal,
yeah.
right? Because most of it is just about following through on what you
Yeah,
say.
it's just keeping them aware, keeping them accountable to doing the things that they need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I actually think, and this would be a secret. So if you're listening, don't tell anyone. I think this actually works way better in person than it does online.
Yeah.
Like, I really do with the system that we teach, I think it works really, really well in person.
Yeah.
Because think about it, like, people have to go to the effort to find you, and then they, do all this thing, and then they're actually in the gym, and you're telling them, or in the, your personal training studio, and you're saying, "I can get you this result,"
Yeah.
right? And it's gonna cost you, 3 grand for 8 weeks or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And it's just, and they know you're there. They can touch you. They can see you. They can see that you are actually doing that. It works tremendously well.
Yeah.
So, I've had a lot of discussions with some fitness professionals in our group about
Yep.
making this work in person, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's huge. Well, so let's talk about that for a second, because I think there's a big stigma for studio owners or fitness instructors that think that they can't charge this for in-person work, right? They start to compare themselves to the $100 an hour, or like even worse, the 24-hour fitness, or LA Fitness or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So talk to me about that, and like how, like what you have to overcome there.
Okay, so just the first thing you have to do is sit down with a calculator and start doing some math, right? So
Everybody loves math.
I
Well, you just lost the entire viewership, Jay.
Oh, okay, well, forget
Nobody's paying attention. No, I'm just kidding.
but okay.
If doing math makes me more money and has a bigger impact, I will do math.
So, okay, I was talking to a trainer that worked at a very well-known gym, and a very expensive gym, and people that worked with him would pay something like 100 to $150 an hour,
Yeah,
of which he would get like 30, right?
yeah,
You start to work it out, it's like these people are paying, let's call it on the low end, $300 a week, right? To be a part of that gym and to work with you. So that's $1,200 a month,
yep,
right? So that's essentially high ticket already. $1,200 a month for 2 months is $2,400,
yep,
right? You could charge 2,500, 3,000 easy,
yep.
right?
You're already doing it.
So that's only at $100 an hour, right? And think about what they get for that $100 an hour, right? They have 3 hours of your time every week, right? But they don't get nutrition planning. They don't get like you checking in on them with a text. They don't get any additional information. There's no other people that they can like share stories with or whatever. So they're actually getting less for that $100 an hour, that $1,200 a month, than they would get if you just packaged it differently.
Yeah,
If you just said, "I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds over this next 8 weeks," you're going to pay 2,500 or 3,500 or whatever it is that you decide to charge. And here's the full plan, like
yeah.
full 8 weeks. And I actually told my customers this, if you follow this plan and you get 80% compliance, like what I mean is like if you work out enough,
You
if you
do 80% of the things I tell you to do. Yeah,
and you don't get the results, then I will keep working with you until you get the results for free,
yeah,
right? Because I'm just 100% committed to their success,
yeah,
right? And that didn't happen because either they got the 80% and they got there, or they didn't get the 80% and they know exactly what they needed to fix.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I mean, so you pull it out, you do a little math, and you realize like actually you're charging high ticket anyway. Even if you're charging half that, $50 an hour, you're still charging them $600 a month.
yep,
That's expensive,
yeah,
right? And so people are going to say it's too expensive at 600. You might as well charge 1,200, get a few more no's, have to work with less people that are more dedicated.
yeah. That's beautiful. I love it, man. I love it. What let me ask you this. What do you think now, now working with us for a bit, and obviously you've helped, over 300 fitness coaches. What are some of the biggest mistakes that coaches make when it comes to building their businesses?
Okay. So, okay, I'll start with fitness coaches. So, one of the biggest things is just, and this really applies to everyone, but just mindset. Like,
Yeah.
the reason people don't charge enough is because everyone else charges less. They
Yeah.
think that because the gym down the street or the trainer down the street charges this, then no one's going to pay for more because I'm asking for more,
Yep.
right? And like you just have to get all that garbage out. Like who cares what other people are doing,
Yeah.
right? And who cares how many people say no and that it's too expensive, right? There's one person out there that will say yes and do everything you say, and is going to get amazing results. And you can use those results to talk to the next person, right?
Yep.
So mindset around charging is one of the first things. The second one is honestly like it's tough to say this, like people just don't work hard enough. Like it's not
Wait,
even that you're
wait.
bad.
Are you trying to tell me that I can't just sit on the beach and sip Mai Tais and, and my business will just come rolling in? I'll put up a pretty Wix website and all of a sudden all my business will just roll in and I'll be good to go.
Yeah, we went to the beach last weekend when I visited. What did we do there?
Oh, we worked our asses off. I didn't. You did.
Yeah, I made you do push-ups and stuff.
Made,
Yeah,
made me do burpees and air
yeah.
squats.
I mean, I think part of it is just like when I look at the numbers, when you really look at the numbers, people are not doing enough activity to generate enough interest in whatever they're selling
Yeah.
to to actually sell it. You
Yeah.
know, like let's say you're terrible at sales and you close one out of every 10 people, right? So
Yeah.
that means you need 10 consults,
Yeah.
which means that you probably need to add like 100, 200, 300 people to your group.
Yeah.
So you can't go out there and say, "Oh, I followed 25 people and I only added 10. How come I'm not making any sales?"
Yeah.
It's like
It's numbers.
yeah, you got to take a lot more action and really get out there and hustle a little bit more.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things Dean Jackson says. Dean Jackson was in a mastermind that I was in a couple of years ago. And he was just like, yeah, businesses don't die because you don't have a great product. Businesses die because you have a great product and there are thousands or millions of people out there who have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was basically saying exactly that. He's like, you're just not getting your business, your offer, your product, your service in front of enough eyeballs. That's all it is. There are
Yeah.
thousands and millions of people that need your product and you're not putting it in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about this like there are inferior products out there that are crushing you in sales, right?
Yep.
I mean, and it's like you walk in, I'm not going to name any names, but I walk into a popular fitness studio and take a class there. It's like, this is crap. Why? But they're making 10 times as much as my gym was making. So what are they doing differently? And you
Yeah.
start paying attention to that. It's
What
just,
can I do better? Because, and I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned as a starting coach. One of my mentors, I was getting upset that there was like a marketer out there that was like, he was in the self-development space, but he was a marketer, right, with a crap program. And I was just like, I hate that like this marketer is getting all these people, but selling snake oil.
yeah,
And my mentor was like, well, stop being upset at him and start getting better at marketing and sales
yeah.
so that all of those people come to you instead of going to him.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say that's the third one is just like and this is something I really kind of picked up at the beginning of doing HIC. It's like your job first is to sell and market your product.
Yeah.
And then it is to coach, right? We
Yeah.
spend all this time like learning how to be a great coach and then we're hoping that people will come and find us. Dude, some of the best coaches I know are working in basements because they don't have any clients.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I've been in this industry for a long time. So some of the best coaches that I know have no clients, and
Yep.
they can teach you how to do, strict muscle ups and iron crosses, and you could get
Yeah.
there in 8 weeks, but they have no clients because nobody knows who they are,
Yep.
right? And so you got to first kind of wrap your head around that's really your first job,
Yeah.
and make sure you deliver the product so that when people do come through that they're getting that fulfillment of all of your promise, right?
I love that, man. Hey, you got to be a business owner, a marketer, a salesperson first. That's what gives you the opportunity to actually coach.
Yeah, yeah.
I dig it. Last question for you. What's it like to work with HIC?
It's great. I mean,
You don't have to lie to me just because I'm on the other side of the Zoom with you, man.
I would tell you if it sucked. I'd tell you
You would actually tell me if it sucked.
um, you know, we talked about this recently, like,
Let me take it back one step actually.
okay,
Why did you even want to work with HIC?
that's a good question. Okay. So, I love coaching people. I
Yeah.
love Like I love being able to see that kind of aha moment where they're just like, "Oh yeah, I just need to do this and this and then we'll get there," right? I also love learning new things, like just acquiring knowledge. Like it's part of why I picked up the guitar is just like,
Yeah.
you know, all this stuff kind of builds on each other. And then the last thing is just like, I've learned to make it my business to be around good people.
Yeah.
Right? Just as much as I can be around good people, whether they're working for me or whether I just know them or whether I have lunch with them or whatever, you know, it just makes you a better person. And
Yeah.
so, I was a client going through HIC and getting a lot out of it, like I said. And when the job came up that you were looking for a coach, it was basically like I read the description. I was like, well, this is basically me. Like you're just describing me, right?
Yeah.
And even when I got on the interview, I told you about it. I was like, guys, I don't really need this. I don't, like I have other things that I'm doing, but I
Yep.
love what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And if you could get over, if you need a coach and my personality doesn't rub you the wrong way, then this could potentially work out. And so I I was I was probably more honest on those interviews than you were expecting. But I just
I
really
think that's why we loved you though. Like we have a culture of like honesty and forwardness, and I think that's really important here. That's what allows us to get to those crazy levels.
and the thing is like I don't want a job.
Yeah.
I want to do what I love with around people that I'm inspired by and where I get to learn.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's ultimately what got us here and why I'm here and why I enjoy it. What was interesting, you asked what is it like being on the other side. I actually don't think that people know how good this company is. Like I think
Yeah.
I think anything that you're working on with your business, like anything, if you're a coach and you're working with us or thinking about working with us, anything you're working on with your business has been addressed somewhere within high impact coaching,
Yeah.
right? Whether it is, how we do meetings with the team or, how we do reviews or, you know, down to the, how we do direct messages and how we hire virtual assistants, like all of that stuff is in HIC. And it's not like there's not it's not like a shit show on the other side of things.
Yeah.
Like it's actually just exactly what we coach is what we do.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we don't talk about because we're still not sure if that's the way it's going to be forever.
We're still ironing out the processes. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's been so easy to coach people within this group because if they're at a, let's say they're at a, a 50K and above level, and they're like, okay, I've gotten everything out of the modules, but now I have this question. Then I can just say, oh, well, this is what we do at HIC.
Yeah.
And you just follow that. And, here's the step by step of how it works. And if you have more questions, let's have a call with Zander.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would say it's actually even better than I thought it was going to be. And that is inspiring.
Good to hear, man. I like it. I like it. All right. That I said that was my last question, but now I got to give you it's going to be like a speed round. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and then I want you to respond with the name of the person in HIC that you think describes this person. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one, for example, I'm going to say the funniest person in HIC.
Let's call.
Ah, damn it. I knew you were going to say that too. The happiest person in HIC.
Uh, it's got to be Joshua.
That's got to be Joshua. Um, the smartest person in HIC.
Oh, come on. Um, God, Aaron is super impressive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Aaron is. I mean, I haven't really. I've gotten to know him a little bit more because we spent some time. But like,
Yeah.
man, that guy's just like a savant.
Yeah. All right. One last one. Your favorite person in HIC.
It's got to be me.
There you go. That works for me, brother. Awesome stuff, Jay. Really glad that we got to do this today. Looking forward to getting you back on the show soon. For everybody who wants to catch these interviews live, if you're in podcast land, make sure you go to zanderfryer.com/FB group. And if you want our help getting your business up and running, getting to that 6-figure mark, or if you're already at the 6-figure mark and you want to get to that multi 6-figure, 7-figure mark, just go to zanderfryer.com/programs. Check out our programs. We're happy to chat, help you out with whatever you need help with. Jay, thanks again, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.